Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name is Adam Vale, Senior Editor over at thecoalition.com, and I'm joined by
his brother, Josh. I'm a writer for the Coalition, and we're excited to get into this. Last of Us, Episode 2, Through the Valley.
Oh, man, people, you guys watched it. We just watched it. Oh, man, we didn't think it was going to happen. Let's be honest.
This is the episode that when this show was first announced, even just the first season, I was like, I can't wait for this.
Can't wait. Oh, man, people. Oh, this is we can't wait to get into it. But real quick, for those who, obviously, this is a new channel. Thank you for joining us. Please like, subscribe, join us with all the other shows. We're also covering Mobland. I'm going to be covering Murderbot, the Apple Plus show, bunch of other things. I just want to get some housekeeping out of the way. Thanks for the comments and all the other stuff that's going on. It's been great. This has been a new project for us. As Josh just mentioned, he and I are also part of the Coalition, but this is another little subdivision that we're doing. This is a new project. We get a lot of shows. We're always talking about shows. And I was like, you know what? Let's share our thoughts with the people, right? The people, so here we are. That's what we're doing. So yeah, if you're interested, you like this coverage, you like our style, we're going to throw in some still images, like storyboard, just to go along, just refresh.
Give us some questions for the next episode if you want. We want more engagement.
Yeah, definitely. Then that happens. We get it. It all happens over time. We got to prove ourselves. There's plenty of other channels out there. Everybody and their mother's covering this show. I've seen a bunch of outlets that don't even cover these type of things covering this one. No surprise. It's a big one. But this is special to us because we're fans of the game. We've completed the game. We've already talked about that in episode 1 about our connection with this. So thanks again. I was just wanted to get that out the way. Man, like you said, no one thought that this was going to be the outcome, mainly because of the casting, right? Pedro Pascal, big name actor, Mandalorian, Game of Thrones, blah, blah, blah. We're like, there's no way they're going to kill him off. There's no way he's going to be willing to do that.
They had to.
They had to, right? They had to. That was the whole thing. It's like, there was ideas of, well, maybe they'll just do a plot twist. They'll change it up. Maybe it's not Joel that dies. Maybe it's Tommy that dies. And then it's still the whole retribution. We're getting payback, and it's going to be Joel and Ellie on that adventure to go. Pretty much that's her uncle and of course, Joel's brother. That would have worked. I think that would have worked. But man,
and I'm glad they stuck true to the source material. The feedback from people would have been crazy if they switched it. It would have been cool. It would have been different because, for some people that already know a lot of the things that are going to happen, it's kind of like, all right, well, I'm just watching it live now. But it was definitely done really well. So I'm glad that we could get into that right now.
Oh yeah. This was a wild episode. This is wild. So let's just get into it real quick because we all want to just jump right into the end because I'm sure people are like, but I mean, man, there was so much that happened, and I like that they threw in more backstory, whether that was originally intended for the actual script of the story for the game, or they just added. It all applied. It still made sense. We start back off with Abby. She's with Manny, Mel, Nora. That's her crew. And Abby wakes up. Well, she's having a nightmare, as we saw that she's back at the hospital facility from season 1, and she sees herself pretty much.
Yeah, she's walking down the hallway, and she sees a light at the end, and that's, I guess, the room where her father was taken out, and as she's walking, she sees herself in the hallway saying, hey, like, don't go in there. You're gonna see his, and she describes what's happening because we never really see the body in the aftermath. And the beauty of this whole situation is that even in that episode where that doctor is killed, and even in the video game, it seems like such a moment, right? It always seems like, okay, he's just doing this, and that's what adds to this. So when Abby is telling herself, like, you're gonna see his guts, his brain matter on the ground.
Warning her. Get ready.
Yeah.
And it is tough. But she goes in. You hear the screams. She wakes up. There's the nightmare. Manny's there. It's daylight. They're in the lodge up on the mountain. They overlook and they're shocked. They realize that Jackson is not some little camp. This is a full town city type of environment. They've been there for years. It doesn't just have generators, they actually have electrical outlets and
Yeah, it's
plugs
a
and
city
poles. And
basically.
yeah, there's tons of people. They're seeing patrols, all this stuff. They're like, yeah, this isn't gonna work.
And you can see the group's face is kind of like, oh man, like like they I know that they all are in on Abby's crusade, but there's an element of like, all right, we got to be realistic here. Is this gonna cost us our lives as well?
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, and but she doesn't wanna give up. She still wants to keep going forward. She was like, "No, no, no, well, there's a patrol. Oh, no, no, we're not." Someone jumped in and they were like, "We're not hurting everybody. That's not
we
our
just
goal.
want one person.
We
We want
just want
Joel. It's like,
Joel."
how are they gonna fish him out? How are they gonna get
And
him out of this town?
they don't know, and she's still hell-bent on all this, and that's when Manny comes up and says, "Well, I'm working on a plan." And he's like, "Oh," she's like, "Good, good, you're working on a plan? All right, well then, I'll keep lookout. Right, where should I go?" He's like, "Oh, go up the top of the mountain over there, and you can
It wasn't
keep."
man. It wasn't Manny. It
What's
was
that,
the other
Manny?
guy. No, no,
What other
no.
dude?
Yeah, it was the other guy. But I think that's the guy that like she's Abby's close with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, it's the other guy. But anyways, yeah, he says there's a plan, and I believe that. I was like, okay, maybe he does have a plan. And Abby walks away, and that's when Manny and everybody walks up to him and they say,
What's
"What's
the
your
plan?
what's the
What's the
plan?"
plan? The plan is to go home.
Plan is to get out. Get
He
out.
was like, "Yeah, this isn't gonna work. We got to get out of here. This is not gonna
It's
go
time to
as
dip.
planned." Yeah, because he sees it. And he was like, "We're gonna die. This is a crazy crusade." Like they said, they thought it was just gonna be a small camp, maybe a handful, maybe a dozen or whatever. They're trained soldiers, right? We found out they're part
Yeah,
of a militia. They could hold their own, but no, not on that level,
no,
But now I think we head into the town, right? That's it.
yeah. We go into the town, and right before
Boom.
the scene, actually, we have Ellie getting woken up by Jesse.
From the
Uh,
game. That's
from
like
yeah,
word for word from the game when Jesse, yeah, walks in, wakes her up, starts mouthing off about some stuff that happened last night. She's like, "Oh, what? I'm sorry. She kissed me first, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "No, no, no, no. I'm talking about Joel and Steph."
yeah, and that whole situation, and then also about Dina and them, and obviously Jesse's kind of playing with her a little bit. And as they go out on patrol, they're walking, and um, Ellie's like, "Oh, I'd rather do the patrol with Joel." All of a sudden, she wants to be with Joel. I guess because it's awkward with Jesse,
Yeah,
right?
that was interesting. That was interesting when she brought that up because that's new to this. So I'm like, well, why bring that up? We just saw in the last episode you were avoiding
Hated
him,
him.
and
Not
then it's
talking about him.
as if Jesse is speaking for the audience. He was like, wait, I thought there was some tension. I thought there was some issues. We saw it. He's like, our basically she was saying in cleaner words, their relationship is complicated.
But Jesse says something really cool here. He says that they're finding like the bodies of the infected are mounted on top of living infected, almost like an insulation for the
They're
horde.
stacking them.
They're
Yeah,
stacking them.
yeah, that is, and now that because remember the whole mention that Dina and Joel, I mean Dina and Ellie told Tommy and Maria that hey, I think these infected are evolving. They're
Yeah,
becoming
they're getting
smarter. They're
smarter.
alert, and he brings it up. He's like everyone's on edge about this.
It's a ghost story.
Yeah, it's a ghost story, and he's like, well, now we're going to be going through some drills and those type of issues happening there. But
Yep.
I think right before that happens though is when is it Maria that comes up or someone else that comes up that tells Ellie that they have to go see Seth?
It's,
It
it,
was
it oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So well, it's around this moment where that we have on the screen. They walk into
mhm.
this I guess their main lobby area,
Yeah,
meeting
it's
area. I
yeah,
guess a lunch place, lunchroom.
a cafeteria or like
Yeah, cafeteria.
whatever.
And yeah, and basically Tommy's just going over their process of if they have an emergency, which
Eh,
100%
Perfect timing.
foreshadowing, right?
Right,
Perfect
right,
timing.
exactly, perfect timing, and the fact that it's like one of those situations where everyone's in an office environment, it's like, "Oh, we're gonna have a fire drill again," until the fire actually
Yeah,
happens, then you're like, "Wow, we know what to do," because, man, this was perfect timing, 'cause it
yeah.
feels like if we look at the timing, maybe a few hours,
I would have hated to miss
right?
this meeting and just
Oh,
forget
right.
all.
You missed this meeting. Everybody's running. What's going on? Didn't you go to the meeting? No, I overslept. I'm gonna die. But oh yeah, but yeah, they have this meeting. Tommy talks about the drills. Make sure you have weapons. Make sure you head to higher ground. The
Children go
children and
downstairs.
yeah, go downstairs. The elderly, that type of thing. Yeah, just setting the plan. And even Ellie says, like, wait, what's happening? Is this a drill?
Do we have
And
to go over this? This is a drill.
yeah. And Maria was like, she's like, yeah, no, this is a drill. Unless it happens, then it's not, which is fine. Makes sense. Right.
But yeah,
And, yeah, go ahead.
but then Ellie goes over towards Seth in the kitchen, and it's an awkward moment, and they apologize, or Seth apologizes. He shouldn't have even thought about that moment. Shouldn't have even
Yeah.
did it.
We see that he's like the chef. He's the
Yeah.
cook, right? So now you know his role in the community, and he's like, "Hey, I made 2 sandwiches, and they're steak," which I would think that. I mean, the way he said it,
Right?
and
Yeah.
hey, it does it for me now in the modern time. My eyes light up. I do like a steak sandwich.
Oh,
So
steak?
yeah, steak, and I think even
Everything's
more
forgiven.
so. Yeah, everything's forgiven. That's it. What you call me doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter, right? We're buddies now. You're making me steak. You put some cheese on it. You got some peppers.
Adam used to bully me when I was little, and then he gave me a steak one day, and
Right, and everything
everything
changed.
was
You don't
great.
even
I
remember
was
it.
fine
You
now.
don't even remember. The fact that you're even bringing it up now is like, how is this possible? But yeah, it gives them the steaks. It's like, hey, take it on the go. Thanks for everything. And there was in the game, there was a little comment that she had made, and it was really funny. I'm not going to bring it up here because I guess there was a reason they cut it out. It's like about the sandwiches and how this is supposed to wash away the bigotry and all this. She made it was a funny comment in the game. I always remember that. But yeah, here it's like, all right, whatever. We got the sandwiches, and then they head out. And as they're heading out, that's when they see the storm. Right?
Yeah.
There's a storm off in the mountainside. That's the same mountainside where the lodge is, where Abby and her crew are, and they also see this storm that's coming.
And it's cool. It's cool symbolism. Everybody could see that. The storm representing something big happening, a big change, a big event, as it a storm usually does in movies and stuff. But the cool thing about it is that everybody's looking at this storm, wondering what's going to happen next. It's almost like no one's certain of any certainty of what's going to happen with this storm.
Yeah. This was something else. So there was a few jumps. What part do you have? Because I'm looking at the image. I'm about to click on it, but I know it was either at that point. That's when we jump back to Abby.
Yeah,
right?
we jump back to Abby, and she's out on patrol in the snow.
So the people that she sees at first, that was Joel and Dina, right?
Joel and Dina.
Okay, because that's what I was saying. I was like, well, maybe she's viewing and she can see that it's Jesse and Ellie, but no, that was Joel and Dina. So she sees them, and then that's when she tries to maneuver, get around some stuff, and then goes down.
She goes down towards like the edge of a cliff, and she's digging her feet into the cliff, and then she just tumbles down the cliff, and I guess losing all her weapons, everything flies off her.
Yeah, everything flies off. She sees a bunch of bodies on the ground. Are they dead? They're infected, obviously, but are they dead, infected, or not? But I guess just her presence wakes them up.
Well, this is what we were talking about before. This is what we were talking about earlier, where the dead infected, everybody is on top, insulating underneath.
Yeah.
So this is what happens.
And man, this was, man, hands down, hats off to the production, to the special effects, to this crew, because I don't think this was all CG. I think they grabbed a bunch of extras. To see this remind me of like World War Z in the movie, not the book. The book, they move slow. The movie, they were running like maniacs. And Days Gone, if we want to refer to a game, just the amount of bodies, of zombies, just infected, just chasing out. Oh,
Game of Thrones, like the White Walkers, like that episode when they're running with the snow and everything. It was like directly like that vibe.
Yeah. Awesome. As we get closer toward the middle of this episode, especially with the watchtower and everything, hold the line, your hold. It was definitely getting there.
And you see Abby's face, like, okay, like what's happening? The ice, the snow cracking through, all of them coming, and it's not just a couple. It's
Oh,
No,
it's a
a
horde.
horde. It's a
It's a
horde.
horde. It is a horde. It's what for those who know who follow it. Some people have that. I also cover I Am Negan. That's the Walking Dead universe podcast. And one of the main things we kept talking about with the spin-offs, they had teased running walkers, right? Which I guess would just be called runners, which they call them in this, right? And they always teased it. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna introduce some new ones," and we saw some of it. But man, this was too late, guys, because now The Last of Us is out there for everyone to see. And after seeing this on TV, seeing this amount, even if The Walking Dead and one of their spin-offs, Dead City or the Daryl Dixon, which is fantastic, go check that out. If they do it, it's not going to be on this level. People will always now compare The Last of Us, their runners, episode 2, season
Yeah.
2, and it's like, man, how do you top that?
It was done
Because
so well. It was
so
done so
well.
well. And she
Ah,
and, and then Abby running, and you're just like hoping she doesn't trip. And it's that feeling that you used to get with The Walking Dead when someone's like,
oh yeah,
just trying
yeah,
to get
yeah.
out of a situation, I guess. But and then she sees a ladder on the top of a wall. She climbs it. They're pulling her leg down, And yeah, so then we cut to this
Yeah,
over
we
here
cut
because
to this. Yep, we cut to this because then now Jesse and Ellie are looking for shelter because the
phone's
storm is
getting bad.
getting bad. We hear Tommy over the speaker with Amy. She's the radio operator trying to reach out to everyone on patrol, tell them to head back. No one's getting the signal. It's all muffled, right?
Yeah.
So Jesse says, "All right, well, I got a spot. It's 7-Eleven full of weed." You know,
It's a 420 dream. Today's 420.
there you
It was an
go.
ode to the day. I guess we
Right,
had to
there
throw
you
that in.
go. That was I mean, I'm sure some people that were watching this was like, "Well, yeah, that would be the perfect place to hang out."
Yes, yeah. I
It's like
wonder if they ate all the snacks while they were in there.
right, during
But
a time yeah, if there's yeah, if any of that stuff is still good, right? Who knows?
yeah,
But, yeah, we find out that this was Eugene, and
yeah.
Eugene was mentioned in the last episode. So,
Gail's
Eugene,
husband.
we talked about it, I couldn't find anything. I think
Gail's
that is
husband.
no, no, I know that, but I
Yeah.
mean related
Oh,
to the lore, if it's canon.
yeah.
I think that was just for the show. But yeah, Gail's husband, it sounds like he was a Vietnam vet. It sounds like he was also a former Firefly, as we saw with the lighter that she had and the whole thing.
And Joel
Okay,
had to take him out, so I'm assuming
Joel,
obviously he
he
was
turned.
infected. Yeah, he
He
turned.
turned. But it sort of made me think, well, maybe he didn't turn. Maybe he was part of the crew with the doctor. You know, was he just there? And Joel had to do his thing, but I don't think they know that.
No,
I don't think yeah, I don't think
he was part
anyone
of the community. He was definitely
he was
part of the community.
part of the community, right? I don't think anyone knows
I'm
that.
assuming he got bit, and it was just like, we got to take you out before you turn, kind of situation. And I think it's funny and slightly ironic that like he was a Firefly as well. It's like Joel's just wiping them out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because yeah, you're right. Because then Jesse said, well, he was a former, and he just got tired of killing people. They
Yeah,
said they just got
yeah.
tired of it. So I was like, oh, okay, well, there we go. We're there. But while they're over here having a good old time talking it up and stuff, oh no, we got we got Abby. Abby's not having a good time
Direct
because
from the game.
oh,
Direct
this is
from the game to
correct.
Scott. It was beautiful.
This whole thing, the way they put it together, fantastic. It's fantastic. I love seeing these type of things where yes, we know that the creators of the Last of Us game are heavily involved in production of the show. That makes perfect sense, but we've known plenty of other IPs. That was not the case. Hollywood's like, we got this. Do you want to see the source
You
material?
can trust us,
No.
guy.
Hey, case in point, Halo, the TV
Oh
series.
my god.
Okay, the dude they even said. I remember the interviews with the director and the showrunners. It's like, hey, have you played the game? Nah, no,
Do
we
we
got
need to?
yeah, we don't really need to. We're telling a different story. And as soon as they took off Master Chief's helmet, man,
Yeah,
the
it's
internet
over.
blew up. They were
They
like,
had us in the first half. They had us in the first half.
oh, why? But yeah, so that's why I'm just glad that that's not the case at all, at least so
Yeah.
far. And I don't see that changing. But yeah, here it is. She's being chased. She climbed over that wall. She thinks she's safe. No, I'm assuming they found another way up. We don't see them climb, but there's some up there.
Yeah,
And
they're being smarter with it. They're going around,
yeah, they're
they're
going
thinking of different
around.
ways.
Yeah.
They're mounting on top of each other. Maybe they're doing like a World War
Oh,
Z type
World
of
War Z just piling up. Oh,
ant
if they would
chain.
that
Yeah.
would I remember seeing that scene the first time and like, this is amazing. I'm like, I read the books and I even had the audiobooks. I'm like, this is nothing like the source material in that regard because it was really slow. But man, this looks fantastic.
Even
Thank you, Brad
better.
Pitt. Plan B. They put that together. That was his project. But yeah, they should have made another one. The game is really good too. I reviewed that a bunch of times. So go check that out. World War Z. Good multiplayer
Yes.
game. Like the Back for Blood type of thing. But yeah, she's having a hard time right now. They're banging against the fence. The fence is like caving in. It's
A
making a
rough
little
day.
tunnel. Yeah, she's crawling, and out of nowhere, one of the walkers finds its way through, jumps on her, right?
Yeah.
Again, straight out the game. She's fighting with this thing. I want to press X. I'm like, I don't have a controller, but I'm like, I'm trying to get this off. And then
She crawls through. There's one on top of her. She doesn't really have anything on her, and then boom, gunshot. The infected is dropped, and then we hear a voice, and it's a voice we all know.
oh
It's the
yes.
one voice we didn't really want to hear around her, but it's inevitable. So
And this was it. This was the moment. Once I heard his voice, I'm like, wow, they're gonna do it.
yeah,
It's
they
gonna
do.
happen in this episode because that was the thing. Once we weren't sure if it's gonna happen, then we're seeing all this put together. It's like, oh, they're building up to it. Oh, wait, they're doing it. They're gonna do
Yeah,
it in episode 2. They're not wasting time. They're not gonna string us along because that was some of the thoughts online. It's like, oh, they'll probably still do it, but it'll drag it out because then they'll spit it off into season 3, which has been confirmed.
which I'm glad they didn't
Yeah,
drag it so
oh,
much.
that
Yeah.
would have been a nightmare.
This I think is perfect because it really keeps people, and it's something that worked with Game of Thrones, something that works with a really great show, Vikings, where like
Oh yeah.
that sense of like there's no
The
plot armor.
boneless.
Yeah,
Ivar the boneless.
the plot armor of like people just that never die, the leads that never drop. You know what I mean? There's no sense
Oh
of
yeah.
fear.
Yeah, yeah. Well, oh, we getting there. So then
Yeah,
we can hear once he's like, come on, let's go. He grabs her, they go running back to where he was hiding out, and then that's when we hear Dina calling for Joel. And at that point, you see Abby's face light up like a Christmas tree, like, "Oh, could she be this lucky? Could she be this lucky?" We just saw there's a city down there. And I mean, that's what we all hope, right? You're looking for somebody and it says, hey, come visit me. I'm like,
what are the odds?
what are the odds that the person
And
you're
she
looking
reaches for her gun,
yeah, yeah, she
and
reaches
nothing.
because she wanted to this is what she's been waiting for, but she's also thinking about her situation
Yeah,
because he's instantly saying, "We're trapped. We got to get out of here. We got to go back to town." Dina's already there and I think a part of her also is not sure what to do because of that. She still, even though she's hell
yeah.
bent on killing him, she still had that mindset, what she promised. that we saw just a few scenes earlier she was talking about going to interrogate the patrols, capture some people, interrogate. Like, well, the other guys are not. Her crew are not down with hurting anyone else. They have a code, right, that we find out later that they're trying to follow. So that could play a part. But either way, not a good time to off somebody when you got other creatures trying to kill
We
you.
need to escape. So
Yeah.
She uses Joel and Dina. They're on horseback.
Well,
And
she says it. Well, the main thing she says where to go because Joel wants to go back to town. He was like, "We just
yeah,
got to head out of here." And she was like, "No, no, no. I got some friends in a lodge." He's like, "Are they armed?" She's like, "Yeah, yeah, they're armed. We're good. We just got to
mind
get
you, he
there."
doesn't even know what's happening back at Jackson.
Oh
He
no,
doesn't know.
no.
He doesn't see it yet.
Well, we don't even know at this
Yeah.
point. We don't even know. But you know what? We're gonna find out because this was it. This was it. This
So
is when. Go ahead.
yeah, we got a guy on a watchtower. He's looking out. He sees some silhouettes in the distance. He's like, I don't know, and he keeps looking, and we see a horde, and not just any horde. It's like a battle of any medieval movie you can think of. Everybody's
Oh
rushing this place. It was
What
beautiful.
the only question it was beautiful to see, it was fantastic. I wish I had popcorn 'cause, I would have been, like, just stuffing it like the meme, where the dude's all hyped up, like, "Oh, ooh," because it's about to go down, but on the other side of my brain, it's like, "What triggered this? Why is this
Yeah, what brought them
now?"
over there?
Like, what happened that triggered all that? Was it really Abby? Was it the avalanche effect type of thing where she rolled down the hill, she woke all these things up, or were they already planning?
I
Because
got
as
the
we
answer.
saw, you all right before you get because I'm assuming this had to do with what we saw in the final scene of the last episode where you see the vines coming through. They
Yes.
were already en route to Jackson, right? That's what you're getting at?
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say because the guy was breaking the pipe right before he was breaking the pipe, and you see like the sticks and everything, and then when he broke into that, that's when you see everything. So maybe the cordyceps is working as a hive mind, maybe it alerted. Oh yeah, we've known that from the first season, where it could alert. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you
they
can,
can
yeah,
alert.
exactly,
They
yeah,
can they can alert, and then that's when they all start hoarding. So I guess
exactly.
as time went on, they must be thinking. They have to be alert to this point because this is planning. This is planned. This isn't like, oh, okay, hey, Jimmy and Bob, you want to come and see if we can kill some things? No, they all rushed. They planned this, and I think also the fact that the storm was coming, that they used that for cover because that must have helped for them to get close.
Possibly, yeah,
Oh,
possibly.
man, but that whole scene where Tommy gets on the radio, like, if you're watching, this is a scene of Tommy that happens later on, but just bringing this up because it's all relevant with Tommy. He gets on radio with Amy. She's reaching out. She eventually gets hold of Jesse, wanting to know if they're okay. Can you come back? No, no. Where's Joel? I don't know. Joel. Well, Joel's still out there, and well, okay. I guess Ellie and Jesse are going to try to find Joel, see what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. So he tells her, "All right, now this I don't remember if this happened. I mean, probably didn't because there was other things. But he said, go to the mine, right? That's what he was saying. Go to the mine, and we'll
Something about a
meet up
mine.
with like 20 minutes. Something that we can only be out there in like 20 minutes. But he said, yeah, go to that route, right? And we'll get toward the end of what happens there. But then back to the Tommy, he starts freaking out, calling Joel, trying to figure out. And then that's when he goes to the watchtower. Like you said, all
Yeah.
these things are coming. They start running. He sounds alarm. They're ringing the bell. The
Ring
bells
the
are ringing.
bell, everyone's rushing out. Yeah.
You know?
Everyone's rushing. Everybody's, doing what they prepared for earlier in the day, ironically. So kids down in the basement, everyone up on the buildings with their, rifles. And they started doing like these really cool battlement things. They started putting down these like ramp things off the edge of the walls, which I thought was really cool.
Oh
And
yeah,
it turns out they got like barrels of gasoline. They rolled them down into the infected, and then as they're like shooting them, they light a torch and just blow it up. And it's cool because they were like just running through the fire, like they just did not give a crap about it at all. They were just rushing through it. And then we see the bloater.
Oh man, that was crazy. That whole scene was crazy. The fact that they were throwing the canisters, they're shooting at it, then they set the fire, and there's all this explosion, bodies everywhere, everyone's screaming, and at least the fact that we're screaming. And then, yeah, the bloater shows up, the big one. Now we saw this bloater appear in season 1.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, remember it showed up,
Mhm.
but there was no interaction really. It was like it's there. It's like, oh shoot, we got to get out
Because
of
it
here.
was like it showed like enemy types. It showed like, okay, there's more than just like regular people. And I don't know how, if they give us an explanation of how this came to be. Is it like a morph of humans? Is it something like, what is it? Is it one big like roided dude that just like became a thing? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. Is this did they hit up a Gold's Gym and some of the dudes that were there, or is it like was wrestlers in town? And it was like, oh
John
no,
Cena.
right? No, no, we gotta go bigger. Oh, they got Damian Priest or Drew McIntyre, and he's like, oh, these dudes are 6'5" each. So I was like, oh, and that would make a little more sense because yeah, they are big.
Yeah, but
These are
anyways, he's on their squad, and the minute Tommy saw that thing, with the whole crew just coming towards the wall, he was
oh
like,
man.
they're gonna breach.
They're gonna breach there because he was already going. That big dude was just banging on the gate. So then they tell, and this is the funny part. It's like, hey, they're gonna breach. So Tommy goes down and he gets a blowtorch. He's got a few guys with him. It's like, yeah, we're getting ready. We're gonna burn these creatures, right? They burn them, and then once they break through, like 2 or 3 of the dudes just run off.
Yeah, it's like, I'm out, bro.
They're like, I am out. I'm
I
not
mean,
dealing with
and I
this.
like how they did that. I like, because fight or
That's
fight or
real.
flight, man. It's
That's
real.
real. That's real. I
I don't
mean, if
know.
you see, it's one thing to see these because it was a combination of runners and clickers, but when you see, I think with that moment when you see the bloater's head stick through
Bro, yeah.
and the size, they just freaked. They go, they haul it. They were like, yeah, we're out of here.
We are out.
So yeah, this was wild, this whole scene. But then at the same time, now we're cutting over to Abby. And now we hear that they're getting closer. The lodge is there. The people from the lodge are calling out, Abby, Abby. And then you see the horses pull
And
in.
Joel looks over and sees the fire, and he's like, "Oh wait, I gotta go over there." And Abby's like, "Well, we'll warm up in the lodge. We have ammo. Well, my
Mhm.
my crew will help you." So it's sad, to think about it, but it's like you could see how Joel was just like, okay, yeah, like this is another reason why I need to get there.
Yeah,
I need,
yeah. I
I
mean,
need to
he
get
has no
ready.
idea. This is a lot happening. There's a lot happening here,
Yeah. You just
and
saved another young girl. Like to him, this is like his mo. So
yeah,
it's
this is it. Well, and this is it. I got a question, and people, if you have answers to this question, go ahead, put a comment, and if you like this coverage so far, give a like and subscribe. But
yes,
definitely,
please.
yeah, because I got some questions, and I'm sure plenty of people, even those that played the game, probably still have this question. So here we go. So once they get into the room and everyone's around, Abby quickly says, "Oh, they're trying to treat her." She says, "Help the other two." Right, to help them. Like, oh, okay, right. So they start helping them out, doing the whole thing. And she does an introduction, right? She says, "This is Manny, this is Nor, this is Mel, Jabroni number 4." I don't remember the other dude's name, right? There's another guy that's there.
We can't remember.
And yeah, and then that's when they say their names, right? Dina, Joel. Everybody's face lights up, guns pointed at them. Boom. It's like, wait, what's going on here? All right. They yoke up Dina. They're like, all right, you're gonna put her out. He's like, what? What's going on? She's freaking out. I was like, don't worry, we're just gonna knock her out. She doesn't need to see this. You know, see
And,
what? What?
and before even they, before they even knock her out, she looks over and sees the bag that says WLF. So that's a good symbol for Dina having an idea of who these people are.
Yeah. She knows, but it's still, and this is, I'm getting to that question, people. Again, I really hope people start asking because or answering this bothers me. Till this day, this always bothers me, and it irks me. So it gets to the point they start going back and forth with the whole thing, pointing the weapons. So, well, um, Abby is pointing the weapon, and then she's like, "Do you not know? Do you not know?" Doing that whole thing, trying to ask questions. Takes a shotgun out, just blasts him in the leg. Right. Everyone's like sort of in shock by this, and she was like, "Put a tourniquet on it." Right. She wants to do this slow. She wants to take him out slow.
Yeah.
And it's like, what don't you remember? And then that's when she leans down and she brings up the fact of like the fireflies, because he was like, "Do you know who we are? Do you know what this is about?" And he was like, "I don't know what fireflies, what your military or something like." Because at first he thought they were trying to rob, and she was like, "Really? We're gonna do this to rob you? No, there's something here. What do you got? You got some hubba bubba?
You will
What?
die, Joel. You will.
Right?
She's about
Exactly.
it.
Oh yeah. But for everyone now, get some answers here, right? Oh, boom. Her dad was a doctor that died
Yeah.
there. 18 soldiers died there, and the dad. Here is my question. There was a long pause, right? She's staring at him. Joel is staring. Do you not think this would have been a good time for Joel to say, "Yeah, I killed them because they were going to kill my kid"? He could say kid. He doesn't have to say that it's not a kid. There was a reason, because she continues on that, "Oh, the nurses said that you just went in there killing everybody. You just shot my father, didn't even care, and ran out." No, that's not what happened. He said, "Get away from her," and they were like, if I remember right, the dad still had the scalpel in his hand,
Pretty much, yeah, I think
right?
so.
And so, hey, you could see that as self-defense, right? Maybe he's going to attack you. Joel had just been fighting a bunch of other soldiers with guns. He's already his adrenaline is already pumped. So then he shoots him. So yes, but that not once did Abby bring up, well, the nurses also saw that you carried the
A
body
girl,
of a young
yeah,
girl.
yeah.
I mean, that is a big part of it, of why he did what he did. The way she makes it seem is as if he just went in there, just Rambo style, just to kill everybody just for the hell of it, because he was bored. It was a Thursday.
I think there's two factors to why Joel is not saying anything, obviously. One, he's still protecting Ellie, still protecting that idea of the secret. What is he gonna say? I just want to protect my daughter. I guess that could work, but either way, it's still once Abby had that venge in her heart that he killed her father. What is he gonna say? And you could see, and it was really clever with Pedro Pascal's facial expressions when she says this whole thing about it. He like smirks a little bit, and then there's like a sense of fear in his face. It was like okay, you got me here. Like
Yeah, he's done. And yeah, maybe if, let's say, he would have said, "All right, I killed whatever," or if he does say, "Yeah, I was protecting my daughter," maybe they would think Dina was the daughter.
he's still protecting because then they're gonna
Yeah.
look for the daughter. They're gonna look for the
They're
idea.
gonna
Yeah,
do well. Yeah, and I guess to that point, he doesn't know that they have a code. I mean, she
yeah.
does mention the code that they're supposed, but it was a different code. She says not to
Yeah.
kill someone that's unarmed, but she's gonna make an exception. And then she gave the whole reason about the dad and all that stuff, and she wants to go slow.
You know what this episode did really cool is like going back to the bloater and Tommy and everything right before this, or like in the middle of this whole situation happening. The bloater cornering Tommy, and Tommy's with the flamethrower trying to back him off, and this whole thing. And we had spoken, Adam and I had spoken earlier, and he's like, "What if they switch up this story? What if they, kill Tommy instead, or what if they do something like that?" And there was a second there where the flamethrower was out, and I was like, "Okay, whoa, they might just change this outcome here. They're baiting us with something here," and it was,
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
it
Yeah,
was,
they could have definitely did. This would have been if there was going to be a switch. This switch would have happened at this moment.
yeah.
Tommy dies, and then Ellie shows up, shooting, guns blazing. Everyone just hauls ass out of the lodge, and we get Joel all beat up, but still alive.
What
But
do you
no,
think fan feedback would have been for that? What do you think?
it would have been mixed. It would have been
Yeah,
mixed because remember, there's a lot of people, and it's safe to say and talk about this now. Man, when this part happened in the game, it happens very early, maybe within the first hour or two.
yeah.
People were up in arms. They were spoiling it online, spewing. They were like, "How dare you do this? Why'd you do this? Why'd you kill Joel so early in the game? Why am I stuck playing as Ellie?" Blah 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 blah. They were nuts. People just went nuts. They were putting boycotts. Don't buy this game.
It was so
It
dumb, dude.
it was it was chaos. It was
Because
chaos.
it was awesome. It was awesome because normal things don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Let's think about it real quick. Why so many shows are successful. They kill off something, they do something.
They
Think of
pull
like,
emotion. They
yeah,
create
and
emotion.
think of Infinity War when Thanos snapped and everybody
Oh
left
yeah.
the theater like, what?
Mhm,
It
mhm.
does that, and that's what it's doing with this episode right now for everyone. I hope at least.
Yeah, yeah.
Our mom called us and she was like, "Why is he gone,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Pedro? Why
Oh,
is he?"
get ready,
I'm like,
get
"Oh
ready.
my lord!"
All the
Like,
people that don't know this source material and now just watching it, appreciating it for what it is as a good show are gonna be shocked. And I brought this up before, and I'll bring it up again. This is I wonder if it's gonna be a Glenn situation for those who watch The Walking Dead. That was a big turning point for the series when Glenn died. Negan killed him, and the way he did it, the brutality with Lucille, the spiked bat, barbed wire bat. That was a big deal. It happened in the comics years ago. So those who read, myself included, read that we knew what was coming. And we knew the show was really staying true to all of it. Robert Kirkman also was part of it. He was like, hey, and he's the creator of The Walking Dead. He's like, no, we're sticking true to this. We're telling this story. This is a key moment. This is what puts Negan at the top of the villain list in this universe. It
yeah,
has to happen. And that's what happens here. This had to happen for people to really get that emotion. But like I said, there's going to be casuals, people that just watch it. They're going to be very upset because not just Joel, and but also it's Pedro Pascal. He has a fan base. No surprise, he has a fan base. People like him as an actor. I
bro's
myself
doing too
included.
much. He's in so much stuff right now. He need a little
Yeah.
break from the show, but he'll probably come back in flashbacks. Obviously,
Oh yeah,
he's
that's what
probably
I'm assuming.
he's not gone. I think
No, no, no. I'm
as far
assuming
as
exactly that, like you said, I think it's going to be flashbacks. We're going to see him in flashbacks. It's going to be think of Dexter
yeah.
and how
Well, that never ends.
Dexter's dad Harry would show up, and maybe those type of things. And we know in the game there's certain moments, certain things trigger, and those were the moments for Ellie that you had to find off the beaten path, like the guitar and stuff.
Yeah,
If you find these moments, then it would trigger a flashback. There's some flashbacks that kick in to progress the story, but I think we're going to see a lot of that. So I don't think he's gone. I think Pedro is going to be filming, of course, those type of scenes and other things.
yeah.
So he's still part of
Some
this
backstory
universe.
stuff,
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah, yeah. But if there's two big triggers, people, I'm just giving you a warning. There's two big triggers in this game. We just made it past one. Trigger one is this one. Trigger two, some may argue, is 10 times worse. Okay. And those who played the game know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, and we'll see how people handle that. I'm really curious to see how people handle this. So go ahead, people in the comments. I want to hear this because I'm sure a lot of people already know because people, the internet spoils everything. And
You
and
know,
be the
and
one
it's
to
it's
look it up.
funny it's funny that, like, a lot of my friends that have watched this that didn't play the game or anything, even with, like, how we've known about this whole thing with Joel, did not know about this, and I think it's funny, like, I had so many people call me today, and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait for, this episode and this and that," and it's like and I'm like, I hope you're watching tonight because you're gonna be spoiled, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
need to
Oh
watch this.
man.
So let's talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that
This
real quick.
is
Let's talk about what happens.
Yeah, this is it. So Ellie, when she's en route to get to the mine, she sees the two horses. She's like, "Oh, wait, that's the horse. That's Joel's horse. Oh, okay."
So
So Joel and Dina, they must be in here. She goes inside, and then she bucks. She bucked off one shot, right? Or she hit the
yeah,
guy.
she creeped in and she just sees Joel getting beat up and
Yeah,
she's
she
like, "What's
sees
with you?"
Joel. She
And
bucks up. She
yeah,
stabs one dude. She's fighting. She put him a fight. They tackle her down. They hold her down. This also pretty much was like frame for frame to the game
yeah,
because she sees Joel. She's in shock. She's like, Joel, get up. He's not moving. This dude
sure.
she's been wailing on him with that golf club that she picked up that was in the lodge.
You could see his movement. You could see just like when she's like, "Joel, get up, Joel, get up." Like you could see like that, just like
And
just
this,
slight
what
inclination to try.
sucks, what sucks really for this is that we don't ever hear Joel say anything. And I'm sure if, let's say, if you were or anybody's in that situation and the one person you were trying to protect, which is Ellie, Joel's always trying to protect Ellie. What is the chances again that here it is? It's during a blizzard in a lodge up on a mountain. He's getting beat up. The person he's trying to protect, not saying a word about, just shows up, just
Yeah,
walks through the door. So it's like, oh, I'm sure.
maybe that's the beauty of it too, where he's looking at her and he's just like, this is my reason for,
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
something I
It
did
was
good. So maybe that was something for him to let go with. I don't know.
maybe, but clearly Ellie and I thought not Ellie. I thought Abby was going to ask some questions. It would have been great. It's like, oh, what's this connection? Who are you? Why are you here?
Yeah, right. Why are you here?
Yeah, exactly. They're so random. You know what I mean? It's a
Is
blizzard.
this?
No one said anything. You just show up by yourself. Are you with anybody else? Whatever. Doesn't ask any questions. They like, hey, we got to get out of here. So then she just walks up. You just see her boots. She takes like a spike, a metal piece, and just shoves it right into the back of his neck. That's it. Joel is dead.
Silence.
Joel is dead. They do a nice scene here with the cinematography, the zoom in close up shot of Bella, Joel, and just the silence, everything going numb. It's such a traumatic experience. She's
And
shocked.
they could have made it a lot more brutal. They could
Oh,
have pulled a Glenn on us and just had us like,
yeah. They could have.
seeing
They
the
could have.
worst of it. But
Well, it was still a graphic image
it
of just
was. It
seeing
was
this
still
thing
graphic.
stuck
Yeah.
in the back of his head, and I'm sure some people that watch was like, "He's gonna gurgle. He's gonna survive." No, he's not. They leave. They stick true to that code. They don't kill Dina. Remember, they gave her a needle that knocked her out. You could hear she's still breathing. They said she'll be out for like an hour,
Yeah.
and they just kick Ellie a few times or whatever just to keep her down, and then they just leave. But she screams. She's like, "I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill everybody." This whole thing, and then
She's not capping. Like
yeah,
she's determined. So
yeah, yeah. But they don't know.
it's
They don't know
yeah.
what
They're
they
like,
just
yeah,
opened
right.
up.
Who
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you, little kid?
exactly.
Like, so
See, again, it's like if I'm Abby, if I'm in that situation, I want answers. And yes, there was that scene real quick where Joel, when Abby walks over, grabs the golf club, and he's like, you know what, if you're gonna do it, just get it over with.
it's like, shut up.
Let's just cut the BS. Let's just do this. So I get that, but I mean, if anything, this can't be satisfying for Abby because she didn't get her answer. She wanted to
Yeah.
know why he did what he did. Clearly, he cares about people because he did save her. He did, and he even
Yeah.
said it. But right before he got shot, he's like, "I saved you." It's like, but
Yeah.
she's like, her life is ruined because dad
And
is.
you would think that like killing the person that killed your parent would be the end of your character arc in some sense, but this is weirdly the beginning of her character arc. This is the
Yeah.
beginning of
Oh.
her,
Oh. Yeah. 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 And,
yeah,
and
so
that's what I'm saying. I'm sure there's gonna. That's the second major thing that'll eventually happen, which I think is going to lead into season 3. That's my guess. That
yeah, that's
season 2 will end and season 3 will be all of that stuff. But yeah, we get to real quick to what's going on with Joel. I mean, with Tommy back at Jacksonville. Everything is a mess, but yeah, they seem to be okay. The one of the cool parts was when they opened up the gate for the dogs, and the dogs were
Oh
just
yeah, that was so
mauling on all the
sick. Yeah,
infected. Yeah, they're just jumping on them and ripping them up and
ripping
stuff.
them apart.
That was cool. Tommy's doing a cowboy western one shot with his pistol. Pow pow.
Dude, they have the best aim in these things. It's
Oh yeah,
insane.
yeah, yeah. He's got that auto aim on. He's got the auto aim, auto assist. Everything is there. The dude was a dead eye. I'm fantastic. He's doing the whole thing. Cool little montage type thing going on where he does find Maria. She's okay. They embrace. I'm sure some people are like, "Where's Ben?" Well, remember Ben's safe with all the other kids. All the other
Yeah,
kids were put in another location, so it's just the adults that are out here. And then you see them walk off. All right, so they survived that wave. All that's good. That last scene where we saw Ellie just embrace dead Joel on the ground. She pulls that spike out. She's crying. But back right at the end, though, the credits right before it rolls, we see Ellie, Jesse, and Dina on the horses, and they're dragging Joel's body.
yes, but I,
You know,
I was like, "Where's Joel?" I was like, "Did no way did they not carry like take him back?" And then it just
yeah,
and it cements for any viewer at home that was like, maybe
yeah.
it's done, it's a done deal, and it's
And
big.
yeah, it is definitely big. And then it sort of triggers something for me because I come from video games, play a lot of games. I thought of Red Dead Redemption. Remember that was a big thing that you could do. You could it was like
Yeah,
wanted posters, dead or alive.
you just
And
drag him
most of
back.
the time, I was running out of time, whether I had to go to sleep for work or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I could do this slow, but I have a scope and I see where this guy is. So poof, shoot him, and I'll just drag him to down. You know,
Yeah.
and that was always funny because sometimes he would get stuck on things, and yeah, I would have to pick him up. It was really fun. But anyway, yeah, just to make light of that, it was sad. But we
At
know
least
that,
it's snow, not like dirt and
yeah,
gravel.
exactly. But man, this happened. This
It's
happened. That's
real.
how this episode end, and it happened. Joel is dead in episode 2. Credits to HBO. Credit to everyone part of that development team of this show. This was high quality,
Great
high
job.
production.
Great
Great,
job.
pulled the heartstrings, pulled the emotion, pulled the action, pulled everything. Everything was put together,
In
and
just an
it just worked.
hour. Just an
Yeah,
hour.
just
Just pure cinema.
and it just flew. Like I love when shows are just flowing to the point of like, is it over? Wait, what time is it? How long we it just kept going. There
Yeah.
was no moment to just stop and think about what was happening
It
because it was
wasn't
so
slow.
fast. Was not slow. That whole attack on Jackson, very much reminiscent of the Game of Thrones when they were getting attacked. Remember the watch,
Yeah.
and they did that
That
long
whole
tracking
thing.
shot. Yeah, yeah, and there was all this craziness going on. And I love the fact that this is it. This was episode 2. We
There
didn't
was a
have to
sense
wait.
of hopelessness too, and just dread over this whole episode. And it leaves everybody and it's one of the episodes where it leaves the audience watching it in the same state as the characters, where it's like, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
What's the next move for this thing? So
Yeah,
man,
this was definitely one. But oh, people, thanks again for tuning in and spending the time. Go ahead, like, subscribe, comment. This is, like I mentioned in the opening, new channel. We're doing new things here,
yes.
and we want to just build this community. We're just talking about some good shows.
Yeah, if
So
you have any shows that you feel are underrepresented or under talked about, please drop it.
mhm.
We of course we have these mainstream shows that like everyone's talking about, but we have some hidden gems out there. We got to find them.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like even before when I was going to cover this one, and I had some people that talked to me. I was like, but everyone's covering that. It's like, yeah, but this is something closer to me because of the game and all that stuff. That's why I'm not trying to cover it because it's a hot item out there.
Yeah, no, we don't care
You know,
about that.
no, don't care about that. It's because of my connection with this. And even if we weren't covering this, we would be having this discussion on the phone.
That's
Because like, yo, did you see this? Yes, I'm shocked they did this in episode 2. But yeah, anyway, that's it. Let's wrap it up. Thanks again, people, for
thank
tuning in.
you.
Please like, subscribe, comment, support. We're there. We'll answer your questions. No problem. And we will be back for episode 3 next week. So thanks again, everybody. Peace.
Peace out.